That's the front door to Salesforce.com International Headquarters.
Well, this is the beginning of Salesforce.com, and we are going to start working next door to Marc Benioff in an apartment up on Telegraph Hill. And it's going to
That was Parker Harris in San Francisco about 20 years ago. Salesforce today would need much more than an apartment office. It has a valuation of over $200 billion with 40,000 employees and multi-billion-dollar acquisitions like Slack and Tableau. Salesforce today is the go-to CRM platform of more than 80% of Fortune 500 companies. In fact, when you Google CRM, Salesforce is the top result that shows up. But these statistics are quite well known, and you probably may have heard about its success in different inspirational stories. But there is a lesser known origin, which, strangely enough, sits at an intersection with the practice of meditation. And this is the story of the Salesforce co-founder, Marc Benioff.
I was working in another software company for a decade, from 80...
This is Oracle?
Oracle, from 1980, starting in 1986. And in 1996, I walked into my boss's office, Larry Ellison. Everybody knows who he is. He's been a tremendous mentor to me. And I said to him, I really don't feel good. I am having trouble getting up in the morning. I just am not enjoying my job.
After graduating from college, Marc Benioff joined Oracle, one of the fastest growing software companies at the time. He enjoyed a meteoric rise, being promoted to the position of vice president within 4 years of joining, something almost completely unheard of in the industry. In his own words, I had the best job in the world with a multi-million-dollar salary, stock, and perks to go with it. Yet, I was unhappy and unfulfilled. I was supposedly living the American dream, but I was lost. I had no energy, will, or motivation to go to work. Unable to continue working any longer, and upon the advice from his own boss, Larry Ellison, he decides to take a 3-month-long sabbatical to Nepal and India, together with his friend Arjun Gupta. On this trip, they find themselves in the southern state of Kerala, particularly in Amritapuri ashram to meet Amma, or Mata Amritanandamayi. Now, Amma was known to be the hugging saint who had offered spiritual guidance and comfort to thousands of her followers. Marc also came with an expectation that the wisdom and embrace of Amma would help him find himself, and he did. He discussed his business ideas with Amma, to which she responded, "In your quest to succeed and make money, don't forget to do something for others." Marc says in his book Trailblazer that with Amma's words, the idea for Salesforce began to take shape. I knew in my head that I wanted to build a company that harnessed innovative new technology, but in my heart, I also wanted it to be committed to giving back. And on that day in Trivandrum, that seed was planted. 2 years later, I left the Oracle nest to do just that. This was just the beginning of Marc's relationship with meditation and mindfulness. His obsession with the idea of the beginner's mind, or being open-minded, both central ideas in meditation, were instrumental in growing and scaling his company to what it is today. The ideas from the world of mindfulness have become so important in the success of his company that he says in his book, if you charted all the periods of growth at Salesforce that have resulted from some major course correction I decided to pursue, you would find that those moments were nearly always preceded by a period of time when I made it a point to unplug and reconnect with my beginner's mind. Arguably, the best example of the impact that connecting with the beginner's mind has had on Benioff and Salesforce is the creation of the management framework called V2MOM. Marc had conceived this framework right after his first life-changing visit to India. He'd initially designed it to solve one of the problems he was facing at Oracle as the VP of marketing. However, the impact it has had expands to much beyond Oracle, with it being used to start, scale, and grow Salesforce to what it is today. But before that, what is V2MOM? V2MOM stands for Vision, Values, Methods, Obstacles, and Measures. In short, the framework can be applied to solve any kind of problem or to achieve any organizational goals. The process involves answering 5 key questions. What is your overall vision? What are the values that support that vision? What measures would you employ to achieve your goals? What are the possible obstacles facing you? And finally, how would you measure your success? V2MOM deserves a video on its own, but what is more important to highlight here is the origin of V2MOM and the impacts it has had. After quitting Oracle, Marc Benioff started Salesforce. However, the foundations of Salesforce were built very famously on an American Express envelope where Marc had outlined the business plan using his V2MOM framework, which would eventually guide the development of the business. Since then, his framework has grown to be used by every single department and employee in Salesforce. There are at least 40,000 V2MOMs written every year in the company, cascading up and down the entire organization. And each of the employees then publishes their V2MOM on a corporate social network called Chatter. And they've even built an app that allows employees to track their progress on each item under their V2MOM. So it can easily be understood that V2MOM is a holy book in Salesforce. And its origins are directly tied to meditation and having a beginner's mind. Marc Benioff describes in his blog, "Always start with a beginner's mind, which is a concept that comes from Zen Buddhism. A beginner's mind allows you to constantly see the world with fresh eyes. This mindset will help you declutter your mind, dispose of outdated assumptions, eliminate distractions, and allow yourself to focus on the what, the why, and the how of whatever you set out to do." Marc goes further to say that, "I'm not sure how many of our employees have made the connection between the V2MOM process and the practice of mindfulness. But over the years, it's become clear to me that the true power in this exercise is maintaining a beginner's mind throughout the process." And Marc has stayed true to his words. Having benefited from meditation, he has enabled his employees to take up the practice themselves. With help from his meditation teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, and other monks that he's had the privilege to be connected to, he's established a meditation room in every floor of the Salesforce office, one of the first companies to do so, if not the very first. He believes that in today's world, where we have information coming on to us 24/7 and are so distracted, we almost can't reimagine the world unless we learn to shield our mind from the everyday noise and chaos. Today, it is not enough to simply unplug and spend time thinking. We need to make time to think deeply and with intention. Marc says, and I quote, "Learning to meditate is one of the best investments I have made in my life. I believe that being mindful and present in the moment can give everyday activities a joyful, almost miraculous luster. Anxiety disappears and a sense of timelessness takes hold, allowing qualities like kindness, empathy, and compassion to emerge. It is, in short, the source of a beginner's mind."